Here, you didn't put the Cheney root in, right? The bark. You didn't put the bark in the tea you make for me?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, you don't. What I'm saying is you don't put it in, right? Huh? You said don't talk to me about it right now.
News, what it news.
So, light the fuse.
That's Jamie Jam right there.
Nigga, we at war. Gun smoking, bloodshed is all that you in store for. Shit is serious, you can call it hardcore. Killer crackers on the attack like a bad episode of Hee-Haw. But I'ma hit them with the sword off. Bottom of the knife, bet your life, batter up, ready to tee off. On white supremacy, my open and hidden enemy. Got us all schizophrenic, talking to ourselves like Pinocchio and Gemini. Crickets is all you hear when I bomb the facility. 9/11, building number 7 was an American tragedy. Ghettos and trailer parks supposed to be looking raggedy. But dog was a racism that Opie Cunningham mad at me. Word to 1663. Servants and slaves once rebelled in unity. The good ship Jesus is having a mutiny. It's time to recognize the black supremacy.
When black people become serious about the revolutionary struggle that they are caught up in, whether they recognize it or not, that's when the revolutionary struggle unfolds.
The rhythm of music, come with the whole clip, strap with the hollow tips, killing that cool shit. The rhythm of music, come with the whole clip, strap with the hollow tips. Killing that cool shit. I'll be stalking these streets in chrome-plated cleats, stomping out the sellouts, Sambos and cheats. Fake preachers fabricating phony philosophies, flooding like they godly while robbing the community. Chaos agents poison our mentality. We jack celerities when we need black unity. Lex Spitter, monkey in the metal. Kanye spewing out self-hate dribble. And Candace Owens is out of her mind. How you gonna sue Whitey for racism, then let him hit it from behind? Some might think what I'm saying is unkind, but I'm here to shock the dead back to life and bring sight to the blind. American cities looking like the Lord of the Flies, while the rich 1% eat the whole American pie. Ready to revolution, it's time to uprise. The rhythm of music, come with the whole clip, strap with the hollow tips, killing that cool shit. The rhythm of music, come with the whole clip, strap with the hollow tips. Killing that cool shit. Killing that cool shit.
And in ending, I want to end in the Swahili saying, this Lasima Tusinda Bila Shaka, which means we shall conquer without a doubt. Black power.
Peace to the family, man. Peace to the family. How y'all doing today, man? Welcome to Sankofa 180 degrees. How y'all doing today, man? Here we go again. Another Sankofa Sunday, y'all. What's happening, man? How's everybody feeling today, man?
Good, all good. Happy to be here. Black power, all power to the people. Got Memorial Day coming up tomorrow. Make sure you recognize your ancestors, recognize your family members. Hold libations, say your ashes, set a little time out for people that made in open ways for you today. Other than that, just happy to be back here with the Sankofa 180 panel. You, Brother Jamie, you Carrie, you E, and myself, Brother Jill from H-Town. So It's clockwork. This is what we do, you know. So happy to be here. All power to the people.
That's right, man. Hey, and don't forget, man, to recognize our soldiers too, man. The ones that's here and the ones that's falling. Hey, and one is right here, man. Peace to you, Gerald. Uh, 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 yeah, King. Thanks for serving our country, man.
They put that work in.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
they're flying in and out of limit zones and shit.
Right. That's right,
Yeah.
man. So shout out to you, King. Uh, and what's going on, Eric? What's going on, King? You there? Eric might be in and out the house.
Yeah.
To that.
Peace
Hello?
to you, King. Yeah, go. We can hear you.
Peace to the panel. Peace to the panel. How's everybody doing?
What up, B?
All
Good
right.
over here.
All right. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here. As you know, I'm driving, but I'm present.
Right,
So-
right.
That's right.
Right.
And Queen Carrie, how you, peace to you, Queen.
Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm good. Tucson, Arizona. Thank you, Gerald, for your service. And I'm happy to be here. I'm rushing around trying to get ready to go to this chiropractor, see what he's got. sort of interesting to me. He's really researching my case, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for this panel, and I'm happy to be here. Love you guys.
Love you too, Queen. And my brother, the brother Sankofa. Peace to you. What's going on?
What's up, panel? Hey, man, it's all good. Hey, I put a joint up there on Sankofa about Memorial Day and Black people, and it's from a teacher. So I don't know if you guys seen it or not. I haven't got back on there. And then Gerald,
You want me to put it up real quick?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. We're gonna find it.
And then Gerald, I was watching. I got finished watching. Hold up, it's about to come back up. Malcolm X and James Baldwin speaking.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so big up to the panel, man. And I'm the Sankofa 180 degrees. I was on I fell sucker to this mug on one of them platforms, man, and he was joking and said, man, you got jokes, huh? And so I left it at that, man. And
Hey, what it look like, King?
it's got a lady on it.
Okay, is this it? Hold on. I think this is it. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, it's one of the first ones. Yeah, it's that Black History Behind Memorial Day. It should be the third one down.
I think I got it. It's it right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
True meaning behind Memorial Day and how African Americans created Memorial Day. It all started with us, with Black people. If you're a teacher, teach your children this. And you can go ahead and Google it and research. It's true. So on May 1st, 1865, Union soldiers were just lying in mass graves. And so some freed slaves, African Americans, decided to dig them up and reorganize their graves and give them honor. And about 10,000 Charleston, South Carolina residents and children carrying flowers, mostly poppies, at a racetrack down in South Carolina, marched around the race course, honoring these dead soldiers. And they put a sign overhead called Martyrs of the Race Course. And at about 9 a.m. that day, 3,000 Black school children paraded around the track holding poppies and roses and singing Union songs in commemoration of the Union soldiers who fought for them in the Civil War. I didn't know that little bit of
Sure.
children about the true meaning of Memorial Day. Let them know that Veterans Day and Memorial Day are two different things. Veterans Day commemorates those that have passed away, those that are no longer here with us, that are deceased. We memorialize them in their memory. That's why it's called Memorial Day. And let them know that it was created. Do you know the real, true meaning behind Memorial Day? African Americans created Memorial Day.
Interesting, at least.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's the history.
Say that again.
That is the history right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
After the Civil War, they buried them soldiers again and did a parade and started doing it every year.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know that about that. And they dug him up and gave him a proper burial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole bunch probably come out on what's the name tomorrow, on Facebook, on different forums tomorrow. But yeah, I got some old posts about it.
Oh shit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Throw some up there. There's some, because I didn't know that history. I didn't know that they dug them up and then memorialized them and shit like that. So I know they went to war, but that's new shit. I usually research it before I put stuff up, but I didn't have time this morning and I thought it was credible enough.
yeah, no, that's true history right there. Let me say, by now that you know what you're gonna see it more and more tomorrow. You're gonna see people posting way more about it tomorrow. That's just how that type of stuff goes.
Right.
Mhm.
That's right. Hey, y'all can hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, sweet, man. All right. Listen, man. So look, man, I got this this video from Gerald, man. We was kicking it one I think that was on Friday night. Was that Friday, King?
Yeah, Friday.
That was Friday, yeah, on Friday session, man. We was chopping it up, man, and he showed me this video, man, and this video is I mean, we should have been watching this video a long time ago.
Right.
Listen, man, a long time ago, man. But well, let me see what happened, man. We got going on here. All right, I don't see it. Let me. All right, there you go. I couldn't see Eric for a minute. All right, there we go. All right. Uh. So anyway, man, this is a real good video, man. This is called "The Rise and Fall of Ancient Israel." Professor Israel Finkelstein. If nobody's is familiar with him, man, well, he's gonna they're gonna introduce his accolades, but so just pay attention. It's only 32 minutes, man, but it's packed with a lot of information, man, and just pay attention, man. This is real archaeology, man. This is this is this is real research, man. Like, man got boots on the ground. He's right there on the spot, and he's able to. He's an archaeologist. He's a professor. So I let him. Give you his accolades. But here we go, fam. I just want y'all to pay attention, man. Y'all can hear that, right?
Israel Finkelstein is a leading figure in the archaeology and history of ancient Israel. Over 40 years of field work and research, he has helped to change the way archaeology is conducted, the Bible is interpreted, and the history of Israel is reconstructed. I sat down with Israel over several sessions to talk about how a lifetime of work has informed the story of ancient Israel. Israel, welcome to.
Hey, so hold on for a second. So you see some of his accolades, man. Now, and we'll stop it on a couple of key points, man. All right. All right.
To our first episode of the series. I think today we need to lay down the rules for what we're going to do. We can't just jump right into the story of ancient Israel.
I agree.
We don't even know where to start without assessing what the data is that we have to wrestle.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think it's a good idea because this will give us some sort of a methodological background to the series. Because I think that we should first speak about a little bit the history of scholarship about Bible and archaeology and set some rules from the beginning. These will be the rules that we are going to apply throughout our talks, throughout the series. Now, obviously, we are dealing with the three disciplines here that need to be combined in order to deal with the history of ancient Israel. The first one is, of course, biblical exegesis, because we are here because of the Bible, not because of this cooking pot or that storage jar. So biblical exegesis. The second one, of course, is archaeology, which is highly important. And the third one is the ancient Near East. So each and every one of them has advantages and disadvantages. And I think that we have to set the background first to explain this. So let me start with biblical exegesis. We need to be aware of several facts right in the beginning. First and foremost, that the Bible does not mean to speak history. The Bible.
All right, yeah. Hold on. I don't know what happened.
Israel, welcome.
Oh, I tripped out. Hey, listen, did y'all hear that part right there?
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. Where was we at? Right there. Where's we at, man? Where's we at?
Every summer, at the end of the summer,
Where's we at?
So we
Go back
basically
some more.
have about the Bible, and we will elaborate of
Good.
Israel with the people of Israel. Now, obviously, we are dealing with the three disciplines here that need to be combined in order to.
That's all right. I want to hear them anyway.
The first one is, of course, biblical exegesis, because we are here because of the Bible, not because of this cooking pot or that storage jar. So biblical exegesis. The second one, of course, is archaeology, which is highly important. And the third one is the ancient Near East.
The ancient what?
Each and
The ancient Near East.
Okay.
every one of them has advantages and disadvantages. And I think that we have to set the background first to explain this. So let me start with biblical exegesis. We need to be aware of several facts right in the beginning. First and foremost, that the Bible does not mean to speak history.
That part right there.
Right.
Did y'all hear that part?
Right.
So the
If
Bible.
you was to be putting notes, you would simply put the Bible is not historical.
Right.
Not according to you, according to this archaeologist. This was, you know what I'm saying? This
Right.
archaeologist from his research has declared right from the beginning. That's the first thing he want to tell you. Hey, I don't know how y'all looking at this here, but you can't look at it historical. So we go back to the beginning as people who really research and want to know. We want to always go back to the beginning. What happened at the beginning? Y'all got some shit that's not even historical telling about the beginning. So we can't use that. That's what the mind has to understand. So I'm being miseducated. If I take anything dealing with the beginnings in this book, I am being miseducated. That is an alien and foreign identity. This is not African-centered concept. There's got to be evidence to back. That's what he's trying to tell me right off the beginning. The stuff that they say in the Bible is claims.
Right.
No
It's not.
historical evidence to back
not.
them up. He's letting them know that.
That's right.
Mythology, they beliefs, they are ideas, but it's not history. It's not factual.
And he putting that out right off the top.
Right.
So let's get that understood first of all, right? So it ain't yeah. So yeah, what he said.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And he still is an Israelite. He still believes, he still has something to believe, even though he don't got no proof to back it up. That's how crazy this thing gets now. He not denouncing what he believes in this, that, and the other, or saying who he is. He
Yeah,
just
but
being honest.
he,
He's being
he
honest because we're
yeah,
dealing with the historical method. And we're dealing with the historical method, you gotta have evidence. That's just science. It's
yeah.
science.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, he don't believe in this in the way that the average Israelite believe though.
Hell no. Hell no.
I guarantee you that. All right.
The Bible is all about theology, about ideology, including.
You see that? That's what it's about. Theology and ideology. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Period.
Territorial ideology, which really is on the margin of telling history, if you wish. But still, the reason is to speak about the relationship of the God of Israel with the people of Israel, with the Davidic dynasty, the centrality of the Jerusalem temple and Jerusalem in general, and so on. So we are speaking theology, and we, scholars, researchers, we need to speak facts and data. That's the first thing to say. Secondly, about the Bible, and we will elaborate later. Secondly, there is a gap between the ostensible events, or the events, if you wish, and the moment of composition. And sometimes this gap is very long. It's a very long one. Take, for instance, King Solomon. You know, there is no question that the final touch of the Book of Kings is not earlier than the late 7th century, whereas King Solomon lived in the 10th century. So we basically have something like 350 years gap. And then we...
Now you see that, man, Solomon?
Right.
See where they got him at? You see where they got him at? Then they got it. That's a big ass gap right there, man. That's cold right there. How they do that?
Right. Right.
And remember, he's supposed to be the most intelligent cat on the planet at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think he got a problem with him in a moat though, don't he? Don't don't.
Well, what they trying to say, according to when they say he lived 1000 BC, the stuff ain't written to 700 BC, right?
Right, right.
And at the same time, they give an authorship to this dude. You with me?
Right.
The Kings are supposed to be written by him. So that's what he's trying to explain. For people who really deep into it, we're not deep into it like that. It don't really contradict to us like that because we're not Israelites. When he's telling them that, it's shaking their foundation. It's either saying they're not going to believe in him or what, you know, it's casting doubt because this is their foundation. And it's being torn apart about the dude who tried to find the evidence for their foundation.
Yeah, see, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
But he trying to you're right. He
So
you know he
was
let him
saying
down.
right
He let him
then
down easy.
that when they say that this stuff supposed to happen historically, later, this shit that we find the text and all this here later, 700, 800 BC. And all this stuff they've been talking about anything before that. You're trying to say that right now. Yeah, our text ain't that old. So how can we be talking about something much older if we wasn't writing it down right then?
Right, right. Right.
Or were we writing it down then? What was going on?
Right. That's right.
We need to ask a question: how did the authors in late 7th century Jerusalem, how did they know about King Solomon? And this, of course, relates to the question of composition of text, writing, literacy, and so on. We will speak about it. When we come to archaeology, archaeology is a different story altogether, as the two of us know very well, I think, I hope. First of all, archaeology is an experimental discipline. So in biblical exegesis, basically we are steering the same path. Whereas in archaeology, every summer, at the end of the summer, we, you, me, and the others, we come with new data, and we need to reevaluate the situation. So it's an experimental discipline, and this is important to remember. We need to be always attentive to what's going on. Secondly, archaeology, if done well, provides.
So what he's saying is shit changes all the time. So that the information is going to change.
It's a science.
The fines is going to change.
Correct.
Right. And they got to be honest with that. It's dealing with archaeology. It's a science. It ain't what you believe no more. It's a new evidence come to say what was formerly early believed. You got to. You can't just throw that evidence away or say it's something different. You got to, it got to be examined and weighed and let it speak for itself.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right. That's right.
Real-time evidence, where we spoke about it a minute ago, that the Bible sometimes tells a story centuries after the ostensible events or the events, whatever. Whereas archaeology, if properly done from the point of view of chronology, dating, the moment that you are putting the spade in the ground, you know where you are, so you get real-time evidence. But the downside is that you need to know where you are chronologically, so you need to do it properly. And ancient Near East, we need to add one maybe comment that we are dealing indeed also with real-time evidence, which means the king of Assyria X or Y writes about his campaigns to the Levant or to the land of Israel. However, we are dealing with the royal literature, which means propaganda. And we need to know how to read texts like this.
Israel, the Bible's been studied since the beginning, and archaeology's been going on here for well over 100 years. During that period, there have emerged a lot of different perspectives, different camps, if you will, about interpreting ancient Israel.
Yeah.
How would you address those?
There has been a big dispute, a big debate, Bible and archaeology, from the moment that archaeology came to the scene, from the, let's say, beginning of the 20th century, late 19th century. However, the dispute, the debate regarding the historicity of the biblical text started before. In fact, it goes back to the days of Spinoza in the 17th century. So there have been two camps till today. One camp, the camp of the more conservative approach, more conservative scholars. They basically walk in line of the biblical text. They use archaeology, but in my opinion, basically in order to, I don't want to be.
This is where you be hearing them say, most scholars say that the biblical text is real. You know what I mean? The biblical texts are true. You know what I'm saying? This is where you hear people say that when these are the conservative cats.
Too harsh, but I would say it in any event, they are decorating the biblical text with archaeological finds.
Okay.
And then there is the critical camp with the roots that go back, as I say, to Spinoza in the 17th century, and of course to the high research of biblical scholarship, exegesis in Germany and Central Europe in the 19th century, with big names like De Wette and Wellhausen and others. And there were ups and downs in the debates. So the critical side had the upper hand in the 19th century, any way you look at it. And then starting in the 20th century, archaeology struck back, so to speak, very conservative way of using archaeology, represented by the great scholar, after whose name this institution is called, Albright, William Foxwell Albright, who was really an American genius, as they called him. However, he came from a very conservative background, and this can be really felt in his research. So he tried to show that the critical approach to the Bible can be brushed aside, can be pushed back by the new evidence of archaeology. And when we discuss in the future, in the near future, the conquest tradition and maybe the United Monarchy, we will get back to this question. And we are now, then after Albright, starting in the 80s, I suppose, or 90s, there has been a new wave of critical approach to archaeology and to the Bible. In fact, in biblical research, critical biblical exegesis continued in Europe, especially throughout the 20th century. And in my opinion, now we are in a new phase of an attempt to show that archaeology can strike back at the critical approach. Now, I need to say a word also about minimalism, because minimalism is used sometimes in the dispute without really understanding the depth of the meaning. What is minimalism? Because I'm, for instance, accused sometimes or listed, as a minimalist. But the minimalism is not about archaeology. Minimalism is about the text. Who are the minimalists? The minimalists, who, in my opinion, had a very important contribution to research because they stirred the pot a little bit. Minimalism is about dating the text. Whoever claims that the biblical text, the historical quote-unquote parts in the biblical text, they come from the Persian or Hellenistic period, he or she is a minimalist. However, I am coming from a camp, group of scholars who argued that the historical parts in the Bible were composed starting in the 8th century BC and in Judah in the late 7th century BC. So by definition...
You hear that, man?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Hold on.
I cannot be a minimalist, and I see myself as one in a big group of scholars, most of them Europeans, who should be described, in my opinion, as the view from the center. And how do you know that you are in the center? Because you are being pushed and kicked from both sides. So the conservative group push you and describe you as a minimalist, and the minimalist describe you as a conservative, and so on and so forth. So I know that I'm in a good place.
So all in all, what we're ultimately dealing with is a long standing discipline of history, and history writing and the study of history writing has a long disciplinary history,
right?
With a wide number of approaches. What approaches do you think are applicable in this case?
So indeed, I mean, what we are doing, sometimes people ask me, about my profession. So I'm not sort of saying, I'm an archaeologist, because I don't see I'm an archaeologist, of course, but I don't see myself, as a specialist of the rim of the cooking pot or the storage jar or the base or whatever. I am an historian practicing archaeology, and many of us are. Once I say this, I need to look at the discipline of history, of course, and the rules and the methods. And as you probably know, I am very close in my academic life to France and to the French institutions. And France has always been the lighthouse, in the methodology of history. Especially in the 20th century, especially starting, I would say, in the 20s, 30s of the 20th century, which means about a century ago. And I take from the French three concepts of studying history, which I think are applicable to biblical studies and to the study of ancient Israel, including archaeology and ancient Israel. The first one, that is now very popular, and we all use it, the idea of a longue durée, the long term. There's no way to reconstruct history but by looking only at the event. A campaign, a military campaign here, a construction there, things like this. We need to look at the long-term settlement history of the country, territorial history, what the Germans used to call territorial Geschichte. And the French speak about longue durée. The second concept, which I like very much when we speak about history, is again the French concept of histoire régressive. What is histoire régressive? It's like in English, regressive history, but it's a little bit different, the idea that's of regressive. Histoire régressive is that when one reconstructs history, it is highly important to stand on firm grounds. And especially for us, when we deal with periods when much of the background is dark, we need to stand on solid ground and not on quicksand. So, and then once we identify the solid ground, one can start reconstructing back step by step. So for me, for instance, the solid ground is late monarchic Judah, late monarchic Jerusalem. In the late 8th century, in the 7th century BC, we have a lot of information about the material culture, about writing, about settlement patterns, about the historical processes, the cultural processes, and we need to start from there and reconstruct back step by step. The third French concept, which has been presented or suggested to us recently by our friend Jean-Marie Durand, who is an Assyriologist. So he used a very tricky and interesting expression, deconstruction positive, positive deconstruction, which means reconstruction, yes, but be careful with your reconstruction, which means do not eliminate all evidence that does exist when you deconstruct. So I think that when one applies these three concepts of history, from the methodology of history point of view, one is on solid ground.
All right, Israel, let's go into details. What are your rules for reconstructing biblical history?
So look, man, so it's like when it comes to this right here, he ain't gonna put one thing before the other, man. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to favor one thing or the other, man. He's saying it is what it is.
Right, but he's still starting at the 8th century and denouncing all the civilization and construction that took place prior to that.
Yeah, but but just think about it now. We talking about Israel, right? We just talking about Israel because we already know that the civilizations have been going on. But I'm just saying they're talking about the civilization of Israel
Well,
and
he talked
how
about France too. He talked
well.
about France and another place.
Well, this is where he get his what would he call it, his where he get
his solid ground.
Right, his solid
There you
ground
go,
from.
Kerry. What he's saying is you got to affirm some history. To affirm your history, it puts you on solid ground. You're not into that idea shit no more. You out of the theology. You out of that now. You're on solid ground. And he's saying that solid ground starts in the 8th and the 7th century BC. That's their solid ground. They can reconstruct from there. They can try to take you back from the 8th and the 7th century. That's what they're saying. We're going to reconstruct it. We know we got solid ground, at least in the 7th century BC. That makes sense? We got something.
Right.
Yeah,
But now we're going to try to find out what we do have before that. Our writings is no earlier than this 8 and 7. So then the question is going to become, how do we even know about anything before that? So it's going to he's going to be really just shouting that shit.
Yeah, he finna crush that shit.
Because as he's trying to say, history is what the evidence. And then he tried to say, he's really not an archaeologist. He's a historian who's into archaeology. So, it's when the rubber meets the rubber meets the road at the time. You've been talking, you got all these claims, you got a whole book full of claims. Let's find out what's true now.
Right. And right now he finna put it all the way out there right now. Watch this.
Yeah.
So I have I think 10 rules, only in order to make them 10. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not giving you commandments. I'm giving you 10 rules. Let me start with a few, and then we can discuss them. Some of them come from archaeology. Some of them come from my understanding of biblical research. Archaeology is all about dating. That's the first rule. You need to know with archaeology where you are chronology-wise. And chronology-wise does not mean that you date a layer.
That is the one of the number one enemies to any of the Abrahamic faiths, right there. Right there. It's the enemy right there. Chronology. That right there crushes a lot of their stuff. All just by itself.
Right.
A lot of their stuff.
According to a biblical verse, because then you are trapped in a circular argument because you don't know when the verse was put in writing. You don't understand the meaning. You don't understand the idea behind promoting this or that story in the biblical text. So when I say it's all about dating, we are speaking about radiocarbon dating. We are speaking about independent evidence that can really set up in the proper place from the point of view of chronology. My second rule, the conservative camp, without maybe paying too much attention, promoted an attitude according to which one can pluck the history of the southern Levant, of the land of Israel, from the bigger picture. And this is a terrible mistake, in my opinion. And we will see this when we speak about, for instance, the collapse of the Bronze Age. The collapse of the Bronze Age cannot be read only according to the book of Joshua, let's say, the story about the destruction of the Canaanite cities, because the process in the Eastern Mediterranean was much broader. The same holds true for the question of the United Monarchy. We need to look at the neighboring regions in order to understand. We need to look at Syria, we need to look at the southern Anatolia, in order to understand processes of state formation, of the rise of the territorial kingdoms in the Iron Age.
So this is the longue durée on a temporal and geographical.
Absolutely. You're right. Absolutely.
What about number 3?
Well, number 3 we said already, so we can put it aside. Number 3 is all about distinction between theology for understanding the biblical authors and facts and data regarding modern research. Number 4 is also extremely important. This is the dichotomy between Israel and Judah. What we know about Israel and Judah, archaeologically speaking and historically, from extra biblical texts, because there is a problem in the study of ancient Israel. Modern researchers inherited the attitude of the Judahite, Jerusalemite biblical authors to the kingdom of Israel. And we have to liberate ourselves from this way of looking at things, which means we need to acknowledge that Israel was prosperous, more populated, bigger territory, more advanced from the point of view of economy, administration, etc., than Judah. Judah was on the sideline, was one of those smaller and less important kingdoms in the Levant until the destruction of Israel. So before the destruction of Israel, the big players were Damascus and Israel. And later, of course, Judah became important. There's no question about it starting in the late 8th century. So this is the 4th rule.
So that's the classic, the victor is the one who writes the history.
Absolutely.
In this case, it's the survivor writes the history.
The survivor, sure, whoever has the pen.
Whoever has the pen.
Whoever has the pen. The final pen.
The final pen.
Whoever does the final reduction.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that's 4.
Yeah, the 5th rule is also important. This is the rule regarding how to look at the history of composition of texts, the history of writing, literacy, dissemination of literacy. Because for composition of complex text, I'm not speaking here about the king saying, I killed X, I conquered Y. We are speaking about texts like the book of Samuel. In order to compose texts like this, a territory or a city like Jerusalem needs some sort of infrastructure of writing. Now, where is the problem here? The problem here is that there has been circular argumentation here too, that scholars dated inscriptions according to their understanding of literacy in the Bible.
Hmm.
Because many of the inscriptions do not come from good archaeological context. So this gives you the flexibility to date them, and then there you have to be very, very careful. So in my opinion, this is wrong, and the only way to establish a good understanding of the history of literacy in Israel and in Judah is to look first and foremost at the context and work on texts, on inscriptions that came from secure context. Leave all the rest inside. So first of all, establish a clear view, and then one can deal also with those texts that came from unsecure contexts.
How many texts do we really have from this era of biblical history?
Well, we have quite a lot, depends what kind of text. Let me give you an example, Ostraka. We have altogether, I think, if I'm not mistaken, something like 400 Ostraka for Israel and Judah. About 200 and more of these Israel and Judah and neighboring regions, 200 and more of these from Judah. There are several monumental inscriptions from the region, from the southern Levant, not only from the territory of the two Hebrew kingdoms, of course. Then there are incised inscriptions, then there are bulle, then there are seal and seal impressions. So altogether we have quite a big body, and again we need first and foremost to look at the context. Always the context needs to decide, and according to modern arguments, and here we go back to, it's all about dating, which means when I say modern arguments, I'm speaking about arguments that come from the exact sciences, which means radiocarbon.
Of all of the written evidence that we have that's contemporary with the periods that we're interested in talking about, it sounds like we're going to be questioning how early many of these texts were written down. And therefore, would you say that, at least for the earlier periods, there's no history in the sense that something is being documented in real time?
Watch this.
I don't say this. So though I know today, and I think that I'm quite confident about it, that the earliest evidence for composition of literary texts, as we know today, if there would be new finds in the future, we can change, of course, our view. But right now, the earliest literary texts come from not before 800 BC.
Now that to me, that's kind of key. So they didn't get literary text until 800 BC, around that time, right? That what he said?
All right.
So now we was giving him what we was giving him. We was giving him, what was it, the 18th dynasty? On some literary text, as far as Moses getting it off the mountain, right? That was supposed to be the first writing, right? Am I right? Or was that supposed to be the first writing? Or first literary text?
According to them, that's when they first get their law. It's from God, according to their scripture.
Right. So we was giving their ass all the way back there, and we come to find out they ain't really get it to the 800 BC.
Yeah, and that's the same thing I'm saying about that foundation he's laying.
Wow, man. You right. Did you see that though, King? We was giving them the benefit of the doubt. We was giving them we was all the way back into 18th dynasty with Moses. We was giving them we was letting them have writing back then. And come to find out, King, they ain't get it to the 800 BCE, King. Like way late. Like way late, King. That's crazy to me, man.
That's really crazy.
That's crazy, man. Listen, man. We were generous. We was giving them a lot of time, King. We were literally giving them a lot of time, man. They talking about 800 BCE, man. We talking about yeah, we talking about like 800. You talking about like 700, almost 800 years. We was giving them like 800 years, man. right? That's what we was giving them. We was willing to give them that.
That's what they was trying to get themselves. We wasn't. Once you became like again, once
We
you get
agreed.
knowledge yourself, you don't even accept that they was ever in Kemet. Ain't no Exodus, all that Moses shit is out the door. So they lying on that. But again, according to their thing, which they giving themselves, and then you try to connect it with us, it would take them much back further. But when we go with the historical evidence, as the brother was saying, archaeology, they done did it in Kemet too. That's why we were able to say they never was there like that. We knew about some Hyksos, but never about these people that did the Bible like that.
Right.
But that's why he's telling us now. Only standing ground we got dealing with our history is 800 BC. That takes us way out the realm of what we know about our ancestors and our history. You know what I'm saying? As you saying, if we were believing them and being nice and allowing them to give history and allowing them to be in Kemet with Moses and all this here, then that will push their timeline. I hear them pushing it back to 13. Whatever. But the rubber's meeting the road now. It's not the committed people saying this.
Right.
And then it would be harder for it to accept if we just telling y'all one now. Y'all got y'all own people telling y'all we ain't got nothing.
Right. We ain't
Don't
had
get
nothing.
mad at us now. Don't get mad at us. We've been knowing it and we've been saying it, but now you gotta face one of y'all archaeologists, one of y'all historians who wants to prove y'all right. He wants it to be there, but he's an honest man. You hear him being honest.
Right.
It's like, shit, we ain't got nothing, you know? And the dude who's asking him the questions is doing a good interview.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And and Finkelstein, he Israelite.
Right.
He's Israelite. It's crazy. All right, here we go. But look, it's gonna get deeper. Watch this.
So this
For his name is Israel, goddammit.
That's right.
of how to deal with biblical evidence for the periods before, for the time of David and Solomon, for the beginning of the two Hebrew kingdoms, for the time of the Omrides, if you wish, in the 9th century BC, the great Omride dynasty of Omri and Ahab and others.
So how can we write history from the period before that if we have no literary or historical text?
Of course, that's the biggest question, I think, in reconstructing the history of ancient Israel. You're right, because this opens the way to say that whatever is pre-800 BC is invented.
You see, what did he just say? He didn't say that. Anything that was written before then was invented, King.
Not really history. Invented, not really history.
Wow. So these people get new, they become younger and younger and younger. They ain't ancient, man. These people ain't ancient. Go ahead. All right, here we go. Wow.
Not really history. I do not say this, because there is evidence either from extra biblical texts. For instance, the participation of Ahab in the Battle of Karkar. It is not mentioned in the biblical text, but Ahab is there. Or archaeology, I will get back to it in a minute, to show us that we do have evidence in the biblical text for periods before 800 BC. However, there was probably a long period of oral transmission, and oral transmission opens other questions of how exactly it happens and how exactly tales and traditions are transmitted, what is the origin, and so on. From the archaeology point of view, which I mentioned a minute before, let me give one example, which is very good, I think. In the story of the early days of the monarchy, in the story, in fact, of David before taking over Jerusalem, if you wish, when he is a leader of an Apiru group, an unruly group on the fringe of Judah, the most important Philistine city mentioned there is Gath of the Philistines in the Shephelah, in the lowlands west of Judah. And we know from archaeology, from
See, they did this all through the Bible, though, man. They would take real places and put it in a book, man. You know what I mean? You know, they did that all through the Bible,
and
man.
that becomes the conservative argument. Well, it must be true because they mentioned this place. That's what
Right.
that's all I'm saying right now. But they did mention this place, so what?
Yeah, they mentioned. I mean, some argue that they mentioned Taharka in the Bible,
Right.
and he was real. That don't, you know what I mean? Don't mean that's your story that you're using the man is real.
Right.
That's all.
excavations there in
Superman to meet
recent years.
Muhammad Ali.
Huh?
There was a comic book where Superman fought Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Yeah, if you know Muhammad Ali is real, you could, in your mind, I guess you could think Superman is real because you see him fighting Muhammad Ali in the book.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
That Gath was completely destroyed by Hazael, probably by Hazael, king of Damascus, in the second half of the 9th century. And it was not an important place in the 8th and 7th centuries BC. So there is a memory of the importance of Gath that goes back to the beginning of the 9th century. And this is one example. There are others as well.
Would you say that, as a general rule, then, what is early is less historical than what is later?
Good question again. I think that one can say this, but carefully. As I said before,
That's right.
we
Now, I
have
know you
evidence
can.
for
You
historicity
just
even
said it.
before the year 800. In the 9th century, in my opinion, we can go back with memories, vague maybe memories, back to the 10th century. Maybe not much before, but back to the 10th century, to the beginning of the two Hebrew kingdoms.
Stop right quick.
And then it is not even.
As a scholar, he playing when he doing that, all right? As a scholar, you don't have opinions. It's either facts or not. You heard him say, in my opinion. He's stepping out of the scholarly archaeology range when he do that.
Yeah, but I mean, even if he gave him 1,000, even if he gave him 900, 10 century, you know, 1,000,
No, but you say
900.
when he say it's his opinion,
Right.
it's no, if it was fact, he'll be able to say it's a fact. But when he's saying it's an opinion, he got to going into his own theological thing now.
Well, I mean, I could believe it. I mean, it could take him 200 years, 300 years to develop that, to develop the language and the writing. I mean, it could have took him that. It could have took him that. I mean, I agree with that. 1,000, okay, I'll give you 1,000. I mean, it could have took him that long to develop that knowledge or that way, the way of communicating. You know,
from oral to literary text, however long that took that time to take.
Right. Yeah, I could go with that. I mean, even if you went to 1,000, that's fine. But I mean, it still ain't nowhere near what what they claiming.
Right.
Even true to say that everything which is late is complete is evidently history. Let's take, for example, the best maybe period of the three Judahite kings during the Assyrian century: Ahaz, Hezekiah, and Manasseh. The Bible says that Ahaz was bad, Hezekiah was good, pious, and so on. Manasseh was the most villain of all Judahite monarchs. However, archaeology tells you a very different, gives you a very different picture. Archaeology tells you that Ahaz was very successful in saving, archaeology and history, saving Judah. Hezekiah brought about a disaster on the kingdom of Judah, the Sennacherib campaign and destruction, and plucking areas from Judah, handing them over to the Philistine cities. And Manasseh was the great comeback comeback monarch who brought Judah back to life. So you see that the background of the story of the three kings is completely historical in the Assyrian century, but the content in the Bible is theological.
And see, that's my point. That's another point. This is how they use them cities. That's, you know what I'm saying? The same way they use the cities in these names. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same situation, man. Same situation, man. And then so they took the three kings and twisted it. These three kings supposed to be following Jesus and all that kind of stuff. But the real three kings was really making things happen.
And not historical the way a researcher wants to look at from the point of view of material culture, territory, and so on.
I think that's 9 rules. What's the 10th?
Oh yes, the 10th. Ah yeah, the 10th is something for which I fight very strongly, and in my opinion is also an important rule, and that is the idea that the transformation of Judah from a God-forsaken place into an important kingdom in the late 8th century was a result, first and foremost, of the incorporation of Judah into the Assyrian economy and Assyrian administration as a vassal kingdom, but also as a result of migration of people from Israel who ran away to Judah after 720 BC, after the takeover of Israel by the Assyrians. So one can ask, why should they run away from the territory of Israel? We are not speaking about modern times. I mean, we are speaking about antiquity. The answer should be probably that they were afraid. Those were the literates, the literate groups. And therefore they had impact, strong impact on Judah. And they ran away because they were afraid of deportation. Because the Assyrians deported the literati. So they ran away, and we see this in the population of Judah in the late 8th century. And the coming of the Israelites brought with them elements of material culture and elements of administration and, in my opinion, writing. But they also brought with them biblical traditions that come from the north. And they are quite massive in the biblical text. And in my opinion, there is no way to understand the historical parts of the Bible. That is to say, books like Genesis and Numbers, and then from Joshua to Kings, without acknowledging the transformation of the population of Judah, Jerusalem and Judah, after 720 BC.
So your 10th rule is really about one of the most important landmarks in the history of the region that contributed to the biblical text as we receive it today. Can we delineate some other important landmarks which impacted this composition?
I always like to start with the biblical authors because I admire them. So the biblical authors, they would tell you, ask a biblical author of the Book of Kings sitting here today, the answer would be, united monarchy, the secession of Israel from the united monarchy, things like this. In my opinion, we have to take a broader approach and a broader view of and this has to do with not plucking the land of Israel from the background. We need to look at the big events that took place in the Levant during the Iron Age, and I refer mainly to the role of big empires or mini empires in the history of the region, because the local territorial kingdoms, with all due respect, including the 2 Hebrew kingdoms, they were small kingdoms, relatively weak, not very important on the bigger map, if you wish. So we need to look at Egypt, at Assyria, even at, say, Damascus in a certain moment when Damascus developed into a mini empire. So I think viewing the scene from the point of view of geopolitics is extremely important.
I'm sympathetic to your approach, but I think a lot of viewers out there, especially those with a more conservative approach to the biblical text, would immediately bristle that you're trying to question and undermine their faith. How would you respond to that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am not here to damage faith or identity of people, God forbid. I mean, I am here to collect the archaeological evidence, the evidence of about biblical exegesis and the ancient Near East, present it to the viewers, and they can take from it whatever they wish.
That's right.
I totally respect faith and identity. I have my own. faith and identity. And when I look at things, when it comes to the Bible, I would like to advise our viewers, to give them one advice. I think that reading the biblical text in a critical way gives far better respect to the ingenuity, the amazing ingenuity of the biblical authors and their time and their distress and their wish and their goals and their ideas and their philosophy and their theology.
Great. Thanks, Israel. That ends our introduction. I think next time we can jump right into the history.
Right.
Let's do it.
I'm looking forward.
Hey, listen, man. All I'm saying is this, man. You know, the man said, check out check out the authors, check out what they, what their thoughts, what I mean, they had their own thoughts, their own, their own mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what y'all think about that, man?
That was right on, homie.
Yes, sir.
That was right on.
Dealing with archaeology, dealing with history. It is what it is. You can't bring in nothing that's not there. Can't invent nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he told us all where they stand on their solid ground at, and what point of time that is. And as the person that was listening to the whole thing, first thing he clapped back is, hey, well, these people who believe in this, you undermining their faith and their identity. You done took it away. And he said, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm an archaeologist. And I'm going through the historical method. And it is what it is.
Take from it what you will. But right now, this is what it is right now until they find something different.
Right.
Right? Until they find something different. But right now, this is history. This is what archaeology say.
Archaeology, that's it.
Right? This is what that says. And so for right now, this is what it is until something else come up.
Accept it or reject it.
Ain't nothing you can do about it, King. It's just what it is. I mean, like we've been saying.
For those that know, you can't even argue with them because we know what you don't have, but you got to accept it or reject it. You know.
That's right.
Now, it's going to be a lot of us that don't know that. So they might get away with some argument about this, that, and the other. But once you can stand on that and know, hey, man, y'all ain't got nothing before 800 BC. What are you talking about?
And that's crazy right there. That's mad right there. So you don't have no writing before 800 BCE. King, get out of here. We was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? What you think, huh?
We in our ignorance argue about Adam and Eve every day when we should not do that no more. That's not, again, the Bible is not history. So why do we argue from it as them as historical people? Adam and Eve and Noah and Ham and all that, that's not history. That's how we have to, once we know, we don't get into those things. That's why I even put up that post in the Christian group. How many of y'all people believe that Adam and Eve? And show me not one person show no evidence.
Well, they can't. If they did, that'd be world news. They'd be on TV.
So I hope that people in that chat group don't keep bringing up no stuff about what they was doing and what happened and this, that, and other, because it's a wasted argument. It's a circular argument. You know, I tried to say the same thing about the Anunnaki, you know, which seems to be popular, and people bringing that up, and they was bringing that kind of in there with the Adam and Eve and blah 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 and how.
Oh man, I done see them. They in there with Thoth. They in there with Asar. The Anunnaki is the father to Asar and all this, and you know one of the you know what I mean, like wow, like dude, like so y'all just done took a whole nother, y'all done took some more wilder shit than the shit you left from. Huh?
Yeah, and acting like you're conscious because Billy Carson or somebody saying something about it. Yeah, y'all
He,
conscious now. This is what
yeah,
done happened to you.
yeah, that
And it's
dude there,
all
man.
mythology. You changing one mythology, rejecting one mythology and accepting another one and then turning it into something supposed to be historical. I could put the same post up and I know people will bite on it. Is there any evidence or proof from the Neteru of ancient Kemet? And you will see some Kemet people will try to argue that. Something I tell them, man, show me. Show me a bird head man and all that. You a lie. Don't our people didn't believe in that like that. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all misinterpreting our mythology. Now you can't tell me you can't get nothing out of it, but don't never take it literally and try to make it historical. And Haru and Asar was the first person to kill it and all this kind of shit. What?
Like, listen, man, these are like, I mean, man, Billy Carson got these dudes crazy, man. And I
Yeah.
don't mean to talk bad about the brother, man, but I mean, you know, you using some of the teachings from Kemet and mixing that shit up with the Anunnaki with the Sumerian shit. So you want to mix up some Sumerian shit with Nile Valley culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man, dude. You know,
Not properly initiated to understand it's a mystery system. That's the whole thing. They always mystery, mystery, mystery. The mystery is you. If you're missing that, it's and taking it literal, you will never get initiated in Kemet. Go talking about a bird man or somebody who's gonna come, and you see how much shit they did. You think they was believing in that shit? Y'all, no, that ain't. We got a history of a Homo sapien 300,000 years old. You got to show me that Kemet. You got to show me some Birdman shit before that. Once we human like that, ain't none of that shit no more. We human. That's what science tells us. We Homo sapiens.
hey,
Yeah. Now again, I don't know what happened back before with the dinosaurs. You might have, yeah, but you better do session way back. You know what I'm saying? But after 300, and you talking about we believe in Kemet, that somebody was walking around with a bird head or alligator head or Tahuti with an ibis head and was a smart ass man. And man, what? We were the smart people. Yeah, we
right.
studied nature and took on those aspects of nature and watched and learned from nature. Nature was divine to us. We were divine beings.
That's right.
We replicated that. We did not reject that. We were not divine. We weren't waiting around for nobody to come for us or do nothing. We did it ourselves.
That's right.
And it's a evidence. I'm not just talking. We got evidence of it happening and what they did. When we just was listening to the thing, 800 BC is when they can stand on solid ground. In 2700, 2600, we built a step pyramid. We building in stone. Talking about standing on solid ground.
And we got pyramid text.
2400 BC, we done already wrote in a spiritual connection with the Creator, and I'm the king, and I ain't dying. I'm one with the Creator.
We got
I know
pyramid
who I
text.
am. They already
Right.
just declaring this. He's the kings at this time only. But you give him 800 more years, you got the Pearl and Maru, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, as they call it, and everybody's declaring who they are.
That's right.
I'm divine. I'm one with the Creator. When the shit
Everybody
in at the end, I know who I am. I ain't finna die. I'm before creation. They writing this shit type of shit. Not that I just made that up. You can see how they writing and talking about it and connecting with this here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Unapologetically.
They knew that energy couldn't be destroyed.
Right.
Or
they knew they were
replicated.
prior
They
to
knew that.
whatever they connected to something prior to creation. So
They
the
knew
crazy
that.
shit, when you don't study and never looked at it, well, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm prior to the gods. I was here before the gods was here. They might have had the potential, but I am that. I was
right.
that. I'm going back to the origin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Going back to the source. That's right.
And I go into the world history. I don't know what all happened at the beginning. When we start dealing with the history of man, man originated in Africa. He didn't originate in Kemet. I ain't on no goofy ass, everything happening timid. No, it don't show that that's where he originated at. You know what I'm saying? Timid is a civilization that came later from many different Africans coming together after, just as you see the climate change right now. The climate change is making people spread. That's why they're crying in America. It's climate change fucking everything up.
That's right.
But this happened also way back in the day in Africa, and all the smart Africans got together and came in one place and understood this concept called Mayat.
That's right.
And allowed them to live amongst each other, be they divine, not just talk about it, but be it. I ain't gonna kill my brother. I ain't messing with my brother's wife. I ain't doing this here. I'm not gonna do it. I don't do it. I have
And I have not.
And they grew. That's just the fact.
And they built dynasties. They built dynasties, man.
Yeah.
They had kingships before the dynasties.
Right. And y'all talking about, we believe in this world order now that everybody want to say, well, what? You look at the Bible and God and the beginning is Genesis and Adam and Eve. And that has nothing to do. It's all made up, as they said. Nothing historical about it.
Zero.
And at the time that you think that we as a planet supposed to be waking up, that should be accepted and we should reject it. But we end up fighting about this here. Among these people double down on that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They've been willing to kill. Hey, they done killed. Man, we had many wars over this, and they still war. They still warring right now today over it. You know what I mean? They warring right now today over it, man. So yeah, I mean this shit is dangerous, man. And you can't prove none of it before 800. Like what? You killing all these people for this shit, man? You killing all these people, all these kids and women for this shit here? So you can't prove none of this shit.
Playing like it's about that.
Huh?
They playing like it's about that, man. That's about land and property. They using that shit as a front for control and power over that piece of land. That's what that's about. And they playing that game because people who are illiterate and don't understand will follow that shit. And they'll be willing to die for that stupid shit. But no, the motherfuckers who know, Netanyahu, he know, man, it's about power, about space, man. I need this space.
That's what the Bible's always been about. Power
and power and control, baby.
And control, man. That's what it's always been about.
You gonna get it? All right.
And they using it right now. And that's it.
Constantine got to that motherfucker, to that information. He made it all what it needed to be to support, that was his thing, power and control. Let's use this information as much as we need to control the masses and take everything we want around this motherfucker.
That's right. We're gonna write these.
And so everybody who's motion say, "Oh, okay, well let's do it." We do shit. Same thing. The Arabs did it, but before Constantine do it, he saw, other folks doing their thing and shit.
Church said do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, there's an opportunity here, guys. There's an opportunity to control these folks and make them do exactly what we want to do to get what we want to get, and that's everything because we want it all.
And they went through the church.
Yeah.
What
else you gonna do? That was because that idea of something greater than yourself was already established amongst humanity. These motherfuckers was new on the board, so that's why it was able to go across the world because it was attached to things that were familiar to you. That's where people were able, and everybody else who what I'm saying, they just followed along. Shit, that was part of it. That was definitely part. Hook, line, and sinker, because it sounded, it could be, maybe, but Grandma did used to say something about, them people did was talking about it. And let some older folks and talk about this and believe it, and you younger, shit. You ain't got nothing to come back that shit with, other than something inside of you saying that shit don't feel right, it don't sound right. Other than that, you don't got no archaeological or no goddamn historical evidence on there. You go along with what them folks say.
That's it.
And now you see then way back in antiquity, you see somebody really hanging, really being tortured because of this, a belief. Oh shit. Your ass gonna convert better than a motherfucker. You and all them kids back. Because you don't want to see them die. Yeah, right. Mama, it's better for us to convert. Man, let me tell you something. It's crazy as hell. And a really tripped out example, and these how these people know what we know. They know because just in this damn show, they will just show that same particular concept that somebody amongst your people felt like they was powerful, more powerful than you. They started claiming something, but they changed the concept of who they was claiming. Now these some apes. I'm watching the latest ape movie. The motherfucker villain took over Caesar's identity and playing all hail Caesar. All hail Caesar. And he going claiming he wreaking havoc on all the surrounding folk. Same concept. So dude who did not have no knowledge or history because he was a baby, he wasn't even born when Caesar was, he had to go and listen to some elders say, hey, man, he ran across an old school guy, one of Caesar's boys, about to die. He ran into him and said, no, look at man. That Caesar shit, that dude's a phony. That dude playing off who Caesar really was. And he was just saying Caesar because Caesar was I guess the character who helped the people learn, helped the apes get along with man and live amongst each other. But the whole concept is that you had a thief who saw an opportunity to take something that the people were used to having was a Caesar. Because Caesar was their guy that said, okay, Caesar's teaching us sign language. Goddamn, he's bringing knowledge and information to the people. Caesar, motherfucker. And he fucked with these people who got power. He fucked with these people who got power and made friends with these people. Shit. We doing shit we ain't never did when we got with Caesars. So the whole point is the same concept. And these people have made a goddamn movie out of it. Same shit we talking about. Changed the names and made it some goddamn gorillas. So made it funky. But they was talking about somebody's ass. They was talking about human beings.
Hey, they didn't even give us Silverback on it, Eric. They didn't even give us a Silverback.
No, bro. You won't get that, bro. But the whole point, yeah, was that they look playing the game with us, man. They playing the game. They know the business. They know the business. Been knowing it. Been knowing it. But they ain't got to put you on they ain't got to whip your ass like they used to make you accept this shit. They just fuck with your resources. Just play with your money. Weird shit like that, but nah. That's the thing now. Power control, man. Yeah, and they patent under that. Something near and dear to people's hearts and spirit. And they working them to the death. Even grandma who been believing all this damn time, giving any little extra money to the church. Money that she knows she might not even have to be doing that old foolishness.
Hey man, the power of the church, boy. Power of that church. Power of the church, man. Church powerful, man.
You're attaching ignorance with it. You know what I'm saying? Once you know,
I'm only a mile away.
It changes everything.
This is not gonna let me concentrate. Hold on.
Well, this guy that was talking knew. This guy that was talking, Finkelstein, he was talking and he knew, and he still lost.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you though, he don't like for him to have a conversation with another average Israelite, it'd be different.
I'm just saying.
I bet you it'd be different because he ain't gonna go for a lot of the shit that they talking about. You know what I mean? Back, in back in the biblical days or biblical times, because he gonna be, he gonna better set him straight on a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that. So that, I mean, to me, that's a whole other doctrine that Finkelstein is probably got. He probably got a whole different doctrine, King.
It would just be his way of looking at spirituality, which everybody got their own way. He won't be bold as to saying like Israel is the furthest what they call it when you say you don't mono and all
monotheistic.
Yeah, the first monotheistic and all that. He won't be able to say it. He'll just say the way that he chose to worship, to get to the creator, is that his way. I don't think he will push it upon nobody, you know. And as I'm saying, my spiritual growth, I'll accept him doing that. He could never put out no scriptures to say, you know, he could never bash you with nothing. So, you know, as long as he you know, stay within his realm and don't go outside pushing them, he cool with me. You know what I'm saying?
I have a feeling that he would agree a lot with us. He would agree a lot with us. I mean, some things he wouldn't, but I mean, I bet you there's a lot that he would agree with.
He can't disagree with the archaeology if we start dealing from that point and what we knew. And so you can go and deal with our text, right? And it's whether you can argue what we're saying is correct or not, or falls along with a certain philosophy. That makes sense? So some people can misinterpret our text and think we polytheistic without understanding they bunch of worship a bunch of different gods. They're just from reading the text like that without a misunderstanding of it.
That's right.
Not really trying to get into it. So from most people that I've seen that deal with our philosophy, whether they white or black, especially in this age, and they outside the Egyptology, they say our ancestors was the first one to put it down. You know, they was on top of it. You know what I'm saying? And then some of the rituals and some of the things that they might have went through, they might say we don't got to go through all that now, but you know, the concepts about this wasn't the final death. You know what I'm saying? A certain way that you had to live, all that weighing of the heart and all that way before anybody can judge. We was on that. If anybody want to say, you know, this morality is a certain way you're supposed to live on life, we didn't wait around to nobody to know Yahweh or Jehovah threatened us and told us something to do. We didn't wait around till Christianity said you go, you know, die for your sins and this is how you get to a certain place. We was on that way back in the day. You know? That's just a fact. And nobody can argue that on the archaeological evidence dealing with our text and what and our philosophy and how we were thinking back then. Even when we talk about creation stories, y'all got the biblical Genesis. We got about 4 or 5 different creation ones, and they're all saying the same thing but saying something different. Yeah. Different schools of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no dogma on it. You know. So.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get off, but I wanted to say, you know, for me, it really confirmed, do I want my truth that I know to be built on quicksand or on a strong foundation? And yes, I do want that strong foundation. But so thank you so much for the presentation. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Yeah, y'all have a good session, man. Hey, yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's all. That was it for the presentation, man.
Yeah, good presentation, Jamie.
Yeah, it was very good, man. Jerry, send me that, man. I want to listen to that again, man. And for sure.
Hey, hold on. You breaking up, King? What you say now?
I said that was very good. I want to watch it again. I want to watch it over when I can sit down and be still and watch it all in its entirety.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
So send me the link, Gerald. Right, for sure. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good, man. Because there's multiple parts to it, right?
That's part one right there.
Parts to it.
Yeah. There's more parts. That was only part one. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, man. So yeah, family. Hey, listen. All I want to do is just say this, man. Don't forget, we got this Sunday coming up, man. Children's book read. Participate, bring the kids, man. We're doing a powerful book read. Unc got that covered.
Yeah. I wanted to say too, I didn't like the presentation. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm gonna watch it too again, man, because because it's just like I pointed out in the beginning, when you talked about the foundation, and then later on, you guys went back to exactly where I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? What kind of foundation you got? And I get that he's talking about Israel. He's coming from France, and he's coming from his heritage, his ethnic, right?
Where he was coming from, the rule, he was using the rules of France's. He
Right,
was
right.
using
So
they
I'm still saying the same thing,
yeah.
regardless, right? And then at the end, man, at the end, and this is always funny. It's even funny when I do it, when one of you guys do it. They say, "Well, listen, I'm not trying to change your faith, right?
Right.
Truly, genuinely or not, right? Nevertheless, it's gonna switch this. It's gonna cause some turbulence in that shit, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not really an innocent. Well, it's not really an innocent approach. You know what I mean? Because you know dang well it's going to. You got to
But
know it.
I mean, it'll force you to look at it in a way, a better way. I mean, you now you got all these stories that's supposed to be ancient. We know that anything before 800 it was invented, as he said, right? So you gotta figure out what was happening.
See, that's I'm laughing, man, but that's some heartbreaking shit right there.
But flip it. I'm gonna flip it real quick, right? Whenever you was in doubt, I'm going with you, how did they tell you to sustain your faith? Or how did they explain faith to you?
So, what you saying was when I hear something outside of that understanding, what do I do?
Or like, have they ever explained faith like you still believe and you don't have the evidence type of thing? And
Yeah,
it makes
you know the verse of that. Yeah, exactly. And Jamie broke me down on that. That was one of them hang up calls. Or I'll get back at you calls, right? Because it did, because like we just talking about, I'm hearing myself talking and I'm hearing rhetoric back and I'm saying, wow, that really don't make sense. Right. So on that faith tip, it's like, so what? Just like what I'm saying, Jamie is saying, it's going to force them to look at. Well, not really, because
there we go.
you get locked in. You get locked in. You open up that book and you lose all common sense faculties. That's my answer.
Right. And again, and again, as we said, what I was just making sure, it's faith that keeps them locked in because they also talk. They don't have to have the evidence.
What's the other word? What's the other word?
That evidence gonna come sometime soon. It don't gotta be there now. You understand? Well, and because it ain't there now, it don't mean that, and he at this point where he been doing it 40 years, and he like, hey, ain't no evidence. I can't go back for anything.
Right. Right. And then the one in the faith is going to be like, they ain't even gonna listen to 10 minutes of that. They're like, Zoom, I'm out. Right.
What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this here, man. Okay. So if you look at that video and you go and you watch that video in its entirety, right? God damn it, that's gonna force you to see it in a different goddamn way right there. Now, and you may not like it because you're gonna be very uncomfortable. And the reason why you're uncomfortable is because you seeing it. So that's why you're uncomfortable.
And what I'm saying, Jamie, is I think that's a hope that they're gonna be forced, right?
They be scared to death to come about that shit, man.
When you open that book, you lose all common sense faculties. And you talking about common sense. And it ain't there, bro. I'm telling you from evidence, from experience. All right.
You listen to that, man, and you're gonna be very uncomfortable. And the reason why
you ain't gonna listen to it.
Then the point that we all need to make is something that he said at the beginning to the people that we talking about, and then they would have got out. When he said
What,
the
it ain't a
Bible is
history?
not historical.
And then he banged on him with anything past 1800.
Well, he wouldn't
800.
even never got that. If what y'all saying is true, that would have turned them off. Like, what are he saying? What? It ain't historical. And
Right.
you taking their history, you taking their real history away. Adam and Eve and all that happened to a bunch of our people. My grandmother believed this before she made her transition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them was her historic Adam and Eve and all this here. You know what I'm saying? So it's yeah, I can see my grandmama saying it ain't historical. Turn that shit off. All right,
Yeah.
boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't finna listen to this no more.
Yeah, see, but and I get it. I get the ones that do that. That yeah, but them the ones that's running. Them the ones that's running from that truth. They don't want to hear something that's gonna spark that in them. That's gonna spark question. They don't want nothing that's gonna spark any question.
And I
And
still
and
believe
and
that's really tied to identity, man, personal identity. You know, stood on that ground for so long, man, and now you got to start all over at 50 something, at 20 something, 30 something.
no, it's what you gonna tell the family, man. What you gonna tell the church members? What you gonna tell
Well,
everybody?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What you gonna tell them, man? What you gonna say,
Right.
man? What you gonna tell them, man?
You just ain't gonna show up at best.
You know, what you gonna tell them, man? I think it's a fear, also fear. Ain't nobody gonna save me. I believe
Yeah,
somebody gonna
man,
save me.
that was a big one
Somebody.
right there. That was a
Ain't
big one for
nobody gonna
me.
save me. See, that's the scary part. So wait a minute. So you telling me that I can't depend on nobody
I'm on my
to
own.
come in. Yeah, I can't depend on nobody to come and save me and you know whatever promises he made.
Now, from this point of them finding out, they would have to go and say who else know. You know this shit ain't before no 800. You know, you got to be honest with them. And why y'all still pushing that thing? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Yeah, you got to find out who know. And the other person might still be in. You never know. You smash past him if he don't know. But you trying to find out who else know what you know now, and why they keeping it a secret.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when you hear them trying to explain it out then why this, that, and other. That's who you fighting with. Or they gonna
Yeah.
kick your ass out anyway.
That's
Cause
my
you
experience. That's my experience right there. I didn't have to go to the church myself, but I brought my nephew out here, and we chopped it up, and game over. Game over.
Yeah, man. I mean, but it's like I said though, you know, it's a scary feeling, man. For when you know if you got to think that ain't nobody gonna save you, ain't no savior. You know what I'm saying? So when I pray, you mean to tell me he ain't nobody hearing my prayers? You mean to tell me that I've been praying all this time for no reason? You mean to tell me I done taught my kids about Jesus and God and all this, and I done forced them to go to church every Sunday for the last 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, man,
That was my kid's punishment, was to go upstairs and read the Bible and come back and tell me some verses. And I go read with them, you know. I wasn't gonna just send them and stuff, but yeah, man, that was really disappointing
yeah, I mean,
to find that out.
you mean to tell me I done got him on the wrong track, and now I look at him, I can't get him off the track. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I gotta, I can't get him off the track now. You know what I mean? Now they ain't fucking with me because I'm on a different role, and they Bible tell them don't fuck with me and that type of shit, man. Like, man, nah, man, yeah, you know, yeah, you know that's and that's and I never pushed it. You know, when I was in my search, man, I never pushed nothing on nobody, man. I just sit back and just listen and listen and listen, man. And I would never join nothing, man, or commit to it, But then I ran across the Comedic Thought, man, and start seeing lectures and debates and discussions, and Like, wait a minute, man, what? Now we getting somewhere. Now we getting somewhere, man. And then you start learning the history, man, and and then you start seeing where these things, where these people come in at, and where they write themselves in at, and oh man, you like, oh man, this stuff was a whole bunch of garbage, man. It was a whole bunch of garbage, man. And I went through them all, King. I went through them all, man. I went through the study with the nation, Hebrew Israelites, Christians, Sunni Muslims. I studied with these cats, man. You know what I'm saying? And come to find out, man, I mean, I'm searching, I'm looking. I'm studying with all these cats. The Moore Science Temple of America, I studied with them. Yeah, I studied with the Moors. Yeah, man, I'm trying to find something, man. And I ain't finding it in none of them. None of them, man. And I come I see Kemet. I'm like, what? Kemet? What the hell is Kemet? Hold on, what's this? Yeah, man. Oh, and like I said, at that time, I was leaning more towards the Hebrew Israelites. I was leaning towards their ass, man. I really was, because it just, I don't know what it was, man. I mean, they had more answers than anybody else at that time. Uh, I still had a bunch of unanswered joints. I wasn't gonna commit to them, but I was listening to them a lot. And then I was like, I watched them get their head kicked in every time they debated these brothers that had this Kemetic, and I'm like, wait, who is these dudes, man? Keep on whooping on whooping on my people here, man. You know what I'm saying? Had me a little upset about that, man. Like I was feeling some kind of way about that. And I lost, and I started like paying attention. Like, wait a minute, man. What? Dudes can't answer. They can't. The explanation sounds stupid. Like, wait a minute, man. Let me pay more attention to these dudes. And that's what happened, man. I paid more attention, and it all started making sense, man. More sense than anything that I've studied. More sense than anything that I studied, man. You know, when you make your stories literal, you mess them up, man. You mess it up because then you have a person like me is gonna have a lot of damn questions. You making this shit literal. Now, you're gonna leave yourself open for a lot of questions, man, because now you got some damn explaining to do. Because I ain't never seen nobody walk on no water. I ain't never seen no donkey talk, and I ain't never heard about no damn snake talking. I ain't never heard about no dude getting swallowed by a fish and spit back up. Like, wait a minute, man, what, what? Like, wait, like that shit don't happen for real, man.
Right.
Oh yeah, it did. No, you a damn lie. Why ain't it happening again then? Yeah, it only happened one time ever in life, in history, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, that shit ain't right, man. Something ain't right about that shit, man. And you damn sure ain't finna convince me that a goddamn donkey talks to nobody. You're just not gonna do it, man. I'm not gonna go that way. I ain't gonna even entertain that. And for you to try to convince me of that, it says something about you, man, and your goddamn mentality, man. Like, dude, you really trying to convince me of this? Like, that's for real?
John Henry Clark told him off on it.
Like, what? Like, you really trying to convince me of this? Like, all right, I can understand a story, but you telling me that this really happened? Oh yeah, no, man, you got to now you gonna offend me. Now I'm gonna be offended. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, now I'll get offended. You know, that's just like telling me you watch this man. You watch him. He get beat up. They kicking his butt. They smacking him. They got thorns on his head. They strung him up on the damn. They whooped him. You know what I'm saying? They did everything but shot the dude. They stabbed him, everything. They did everything but shot him. Hung him. They hung him and everything. And you tell me to follow him? What?
Mhm.
You tell me to follow him and he gonna save me? I just sit here and watch this dude just get the shit beat out of him. He done got everything but stabbed. They even hung the dude. They hung him. And you said follow him. You should immediately turn around and just take off on dude. Just start firing on their ass. What you trying to get me into? I'm supposed to follow this dude after what happened to him? Is you done lost your mind, dude? Like, yeah, no, man. So anyway, family, that's all I got, man. I just want to tell y'all, man, we got next Sunday coming up. It's coming up. Anybody else want to say something on that, man?
You covered it all. See it.
You unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah. That was
I'm
a good
good, bro. You covered
presentation,
it
man.
all, like you said.
All right, man. Hey, I'm just saying, man, first Sunday of the month, man, we coming up this Sunday, coming up. Bring the kids, man. We got the children book read, win a free book, man. It ain't, don't cost you nothing. You know what I'm saying? We're reading about history, real kings and queens, real events, real places. You know what I'm saying? And just, showing our kids, a little of our African history, man. Uh, so please join us, man. Like, subscribe, and share. Anybody else want to kick it, man, for the people before we close out?
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. Really good presentation, man. Good, really, really good conversation with the presentation too.
Yeah. Gerald, you want to say something? Unmute yourself.
You trying to
He
think
might be. Oh yeah,
about
no, I
it.
think he on another phone call. Hey, Eric, you want to say something, King?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that was really good, man. Like I said, as I was saying earlier, I'm still driving, so I want to get that video and sit down and watch it in its entirety. And but I totally get what he was saying. Makes sense.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's been the discussion for some while now. Where's the evidence? Now he just put the nails in the coffin with saying even through his own archaeological research, he can't find the evidence. Yeah, so it just reinforces that what's already been definitely questioned for a long time, obviously. And he even said it himself, going back to the 17th century. You had the guys still walking around there like, man, this shit true or not?
Got
Hey
on
man, what
mute.
you think about this? What you think about this shit? But we know how they get down. We know how they making it seem as true, and we know if we be some heretics we want to, it's gonna be our head. So they had to be very cautious on how they're doing their research back then. And by the time we get to the 1900s, now you got actually people who were willing to go and learn about this and create it as a science to go dig in the dirt, looking for evidence.
That's right.
And that's where we are. But anyway, yeah, man, I'm gonna like us to keep rolling, and where I'm going, I'll plug with you brothers later, man.
No
All right,
doubt,
King.
man.
All right,
Hey, man,
man.
you be safe out there, E.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you be safe. You be safe driving out there in the cosmos.
Yeah.
Oh, dig it. All right, homies. Y'all stay
All
up.
right, King. All right.
Peace and blessings. Yep.
All right. Gerald, you want to say something else?
I'm good, man. Like I said, good presentation. So what we know is we'll be able to be an African citizen, be able to accept what he's talking about without us being it all taken back. Because we know what we got. We just don't know what they got. So as you went through your thing, Jamie, I was just, when I first got in, all the glorious scholars pointed me to Kemet. That's all they kept talking about. So for us to still be on it and us doing our research and bringing it out now, I think we're doing good by them. So again, I say to all the John Henry Clarks, the Dr. Benz, all of them who kept us pointing us back to Kemet. Thank y'all. Because that's why we are who we are. So again, Black Power, Black Love, happy Memorial Day to those illustrious scholars, and to all ancestors, known and unknown. I sure.
Hey, listen, family. Thanks for joining, man. We love you. Like I said, like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you think, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, or whatever, you know, or you can come on and join in on any one of these sessions. All right, man. You want to say something, King?
Good job. You did it again, King. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm about to go get this work in, and I'm glad to be able to have a full session. You know, I fell off on a few sessions, and so I'm glad to be a part of a full one, man. And you know, it's worth all of that to me. You know, so but I got the hotline to both of you guys, to all you guys. So he's good either way.
That's right.
Yeah, connecting, and that's what people ought to do, man, is just connecting and be able to, you know, have a conversation, individual conversation, and a group conversation. You know, come back
Yeah.
and share what you got, you know, and we can work with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All
Hey,
right, man.
yeah.
So we out of here, man. Y'all be easy. Family, don't forget next Sunday, man. Children's book read coming.